Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a topic that literally every family, educator, and community member in North Carolina has to navigate, and yet somehow it always manages to catch us by surprise. Right now, looking ahead to the 2026 academic year, we're going to demystify North Carolina's incredibly complex, highly localized school calendars. If you've ever felt like figuring out your district's schedule requires, a master's degree in logistics, well, you're in the exact right place. We're going to break down the rules, the exceptions, and all those hidden factors shaping the rhythm of the academic year across the state. So let's just get right into it.
So, why did your child's school calendar just change out of completely nowhere? It's an incredibly common frustration, right? Literally 1 minute you're booking a nice family vacation, and the next, bam! You're looking at an unexpected snow day or a suddenly shifted teacher workday that completely throws your childcare plans into absolute chaos. In North Carolina, understanding the system behind these calendars isn't just like fun trivia. It is absolutely necessary for managing your daily life, your budget, and honestly, your sanity. A printed calendar is way more than just a list of dates. It completely dictates work schedules, testing periods, extracurriculars, and when you can actually take a breather.
Section 1. The State versus Local Balance. Who sets the dates?
Okay, let's dive into this. This balancing act is really the core of how the whole system works. So on one side, we've got the state framework. The state comes in and sets these strict boundaries, basically limits on when schools are legally allowed to begin and when they absolutely have to finish. The big goal here is just preserving instructional time and getting some consistency across the state. But on the flip side, we have the local districts. Think of it like this. The state builds the box, but the local school systems, they decide exactly how to arrange the furniture inside it. Local districts determine the actual specific dates based on community needs, local events, teacher planning days, and testing windows.
And that dynamic, it leads directly to these late summer starts. Because the state framework places limits to prevent super early starts, but the local districts still need to cram in all their required instructional days, a lot of districts end up kicking off in August, well before Labor Day. So if you're moving to North Carolina from out of state, or, just comparing us to neighboring states, this is a massive point to keep in mind. You really can't rely on some general assumption about when school starts here. It's always wise to check your specific district's calendar, because those local boards, they're making the final call within the state's guardrails.
Section 2. Different schools, different rules. Not all are the same.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is exactly how much calendar flexibility a school has based entirely on the type of school it is. Traditional public schools sit right at the top. They are the most closely regulated by that state framework we were just talking about. But check out the rest. Year-round schools follow a totally different scheduling pattern to hit their instructional hours. Charter schools, they have way more flexibility depending on their specific governing rules, and private schools basically just set their own calendars completely independently. So crazy enough, you could live on the exact same street as your neighbor, but if your kids go to different types of schools, your academic years might look entirely different.
Section 3. The academic rhythm. Common breaks and holidays.
There really is a comforting, sort of chronological rhythm to the North Carolina academic year. After that August start, we quickly hit Labor Day in September. Then, we push on through to the Thanksgiving break in November, followed by a nice winter break around Christmas and New Year's, and finally a spring break that usually lands somewhere in March or April. Mixed into that whole shebang, of course, are teacher workdays, professional development days, and various state and federal holidays. Having a well-structured calendar like this is so important. It gives students predictable routines and, honestly, provides just enough breaks to help avoid total burnout for both the kids and the staff. It gives everyone that much-needed time to just rest and reset.
Section 4. The Weather Wildcard. Handling Disruptions.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why the state is so unique and how it absolutely shatters that comforting rhythm we just talked about. In the Western Mountains, school districts are constantly battling winter storms and dealing with major snow closures. Meanwhile, all the way out on the Eastern Coast, school boards are navigating tropical weather and the massive impacts of late summer and fall hurricanes. Because the state's geography is just so incredibly diverse, districts quite literally have to build flexibility into their local calendars. I mean, what shuts down a school in Asheville is totally different from what closes a school down in Wilmington.
Which brings us to a somewhat harsh reality. Your printed calendar is absolutely subject to change. When crazy weather strikes, districts have to recover that lost time using built-in instructional days or specific weather makeup days. So please, whatever you do, do not assume that a calendar published in the summer is set in stone. School boards frequently have to revise these things when unexpected closures happen. The dates might stay fixed for a little while, but local needs and state requirements mean that adjustments are pretty much always on the table.
Section 5. Managing Family Life. Calendar Impacts.
So the crucial point is that you have to keep a super close eye on these specific dates. When you're zooming down to the household level and planning your life, you really need to watch out for the first and last days, teacher work days, early release days, testing periods, and yeah, those sneaky makeup days. Why? Because these are the days that force you to arrange childcare, figure out summer camp availability, and maybe even take time off work. People in the community actively debate these calendars for a reason. Local economies and seasonal tourism rely heavily on family schedules. If you're not paying close attention to these dates, you're going to find yourself scrambling for after-school care, or worse, having to completely cancel a family trip.
And here's a massive warning for all you families out there. Do you have multiple kids in the exact same public school district? Do not, I repeat, do not assume they have the exact same days off. Calendars actually frequently differ between elementary, middle, and high schools. High schools might use block scheduling or have extensive exam periods that create totally different days off within the exact same household. You've got to compare your kids' schedules super carefully. Trust me, you want to avoid a morning where one kid is fully dressed and ready for the bus and the other is just fast asleep because they actually had a scheduled day off.
Section 6. Tips for 2026. Staying up to date.
Let's move to and see how this builds into a concrete, actionable survival guide for families prepping for 2026. Step 1. Always check the official district website. It is without a doubt the single most reliable source. Step 2. Download or print that initial calendar right at the start of the year so you at least have a baseline. Step 3. Keep your eyes peeled for any board-approved revisions, especially after a big storm. Step 4. Definitely follow those school text messages or email alerts so updates come straight to your phone. And finally, Step 5. Always confirm your dates before booking any travel or non-refundable childcare. A calendar that looks perfectly accurate in August could very easily need major updates by the time winter or spring rolls around.
Which leaves us with this final, somewhat provocative thought. Are your 2026 vacation plans truly snow day proof? As we've seen throughout this explainer, North Carolina school calendars are highly structured, sure, but they are certainly not identical, and they are definitely not immune to change. From that delicate balancing act between the state and local boards, to all the different school types, and, of course, the ever-present threat of a coastal hurricane or a mountain snowstorm, staying alert for local updates is literally the ultimate key to a stress-free year. By knowing these rules and actively tracking your local dates, you'll save time, reduce stress, and ensure your family is perfectly prepared for whatever the 2026 school year throws your way. Thanks so much for learning with me today.